There is more to say on this subject, especially when it comes to prophecies, alien invasions, and the end times in general. Stargates were very important in the past, not only to enter into a certain location on the planet, but to enter the correct energy grid, and therefore the correct time frame. Our planet is full of them, and if we have a sacred site, we can pretty much take for granted that there is a stargate there which has been used in the past or is used in the present, and even in the future. For example, we have this amazing stone formation at Stonehenge, which was built by giants a long time ago, during the Atlantean Era. Aside from being used as a sacred site where rituals were performed by druids and many other throughout history, it was also used as a stargate for the Sirians, the Pleiadians, and the Arcturians. The stone formations were constructed in such a way that they used light as the key to draw these stellar energies to our planet. Sites like Stonehenge offered the energies of fertility, and many traveled to make love at the site in order to conceive a baby, something that was enhanced by the vortices. Other sites were designed to be broadcast stations, calendars, or as oracles to read the future and expand people's reality. Stonehenge is still a very active place, and although rarely used today, it is still working. Other stargates and portals worth mentioning because they may open, and some of them may already have been opened, are Knossos on Crete, the Great Pyramid, the Acropolis, Delphi, Machu Picchu, Tiahuanaco, Sinai, the Middle East, Mexico, Central and South America, Bermuda, used during the Atlantean Era as a main portal, Easter Island, Fuji, and the Shasta in California. Lake Titicaca, the Mazca Lines, Uluru, Lapland, northern Sweden, Gotland, Sweden, the Arctic, Antarctica, and Tibet, a huge energetic opening. The Tibetans maintained this opening all the way up until the 1950s. Over hundreds of years they have been the guardians of the Stargate, and emissaries for those who came through. 16. Many of them came from InnerEarth and not particularly from our own third dimension. The Pleiadians tell us that the Tibetans have been working with ETs for ages. Once upon a time the Himalayas was at sea level, yes. Many who thought that the movie 2012 was exaggerated when the Himalayas was swept under water may need to think again. Under the mountains of Tibet there were huge veins of gold and caves filled with crystals. Also, many bodies have been preserved. They mummified the dead. Just like the Egyptians did, only the Tibetans used gold as the preservation method. This was something they had inherited from the old Atlantean times, where bodies were preserved with gold if their DNA was still intact at the time of death. This possibility of rejuvenation is being rediscovered and applied today. However, the Tibetans were not so interested in rejuvenating the bodies. Instead, if a person had kept a certain high vibration throughout their lives, at the time just before death, the person was laid in a particular position, and when death came, the Tibetans started preserving the person. Now there are lots of gold statues under the mountains of Tibet, and if a person goes there to visit, they will feel the high vibration in those chambers underground, and it will trigger certain frequencies of consciousness. The point in case is that gold is what allows dimensional doorways to be opened. It anchors portals and brings about transmutation. When gold is stored in great abundance, light portals can be opened and access to other dimensions unfolds. So, now we get another perspective on why star races have been here on Earth, digging for gold, quartz and precious stones of various kind. Gold and quartz are very important to bring about life, and we humans have been created under great influence of both gold and quartz. What Jarl Vidar of the Thule Order was well aware of when he contacted me in 2009, knowing I am a former musician, to help him open up a certain stargate, was the secrets of toning. I am sure he has studied a lot of Tibetan philosophy, myths, and history, and he knows that the Tibetans were masters of toning. If you listen to them, each person simultaneously makes a number of tones. One single toner is able to carry many different tones and notes in one single sound. These so-called overtones can open and unlock energy doorways, changing your perceptions. Jarl wanted to figure out which exact overtones opens the Stargate. I did not comply with this, of course, knowing that this would bring a lot of unwanted activity to this planet. However, whether true or not, Jarl stated afterwards on his website that the Stargate is now opened. What is true is that portals have been opened all over the planet. Some are still guarded, while others have let all kinds of star beings in. According to the wing makers, the first portal was opened back in 1998. In our line of focus, the Stargate in the Middle East, known as the Sinai spaceport in Sumerian times, is still the most important Stargate on the whole planet, because it leads directly through a corridor ending up on Pesh-Medan, the intergalactic highway so crucial for business and trade within the Milky Way galaxy and beyond. Like we've discussed before, it used to be owned and controlled by the Orion Empire and is extremely important for the Queen of the Stars, because it runs directly through the heart of her empire, the Orion's Belt. Earth sits like a plug in the middle of the highway, and now when the Syrian overlords have taken over the stewardship of the planet, they have closed the Stargate and created the Earth grid, which vibrates on a frequency that is slightly off, making us hard to find. The best way to describe it is to get the image that all dimensions and frequencies in the universe are normally in tune with each other, quite like a perfectly tuned instrument with no dissonant overtones. What the Syrians did was to tune the Earth instrument slightly out of tune with the rest of the universe. This makes it very difficult for star beings who are used to a harmonious universe to find this out-of-tune planet. Where should they look? They more or less already had to know the correct coordinates and frequency band to be able to find us. But like I said before, the splitting of the atom and the drop of the atom bombs in the 1930s, 40s told many star beings out there where we are located, good and bad. This also shows us that the Syrians, although they want to make that impression, are not in total control. One of the most serious things with having the Syrians being in control of the main Pesh-Medan Stargate is that whomever is in control of it is also in control over, and can manipulate time. This is where blank slate technology, BST, or the Beast as it's called as well, comes into the picture, something I brought up in great detail in Level 1. BST means that whoever has the technology can create a blank slate and erase all memories of all people on the planet if they so wish. It's been done before, both by Marduk and Lord Enlil, and possibly by other gods as well. Some say that this is exactly what the Syrians want to do here at the end of the cycle, December 2012, so they can start anew in 2013 and call it Year 1 again. I've heard this from Supreme Rockefeller, who told me in private emails, but more importantly from the Somme Group in Pine Gap, Australia. Will they proceed with this technology and use it against us to erase our memories? It's impossible to know exactly what they are planning to do, and there is no use in worrying about it. The Syrians are desperate now and are running out of time, and they know it. We will talk more about that in the paper after the next. Due to time issues, they could use their own dilemma, time, against us in one way or another, and they might, but I think the best we can do is to start with learning about all the different things on the agenda and go from there.